Last night, the Athletics hit the Southland for a 5-game set. First stop was Anaheim. To no one's surprise, it was a tight one at the Big A. The two teams traded big flies, and it was the heart of the order that sank the A's as the Halos took Game 1 of the series. Tonight, the green and gold will regroup, make a dent in the series, and they will be very careful with two of the most feared hitters in all of baseball, Mike Trout and Albert Pujols. It's Game 2 from Orange County, A's Angels, next. We are at the Big A in Anaheim. A tough loss last night for the A's, 5-4. They'll try to get a win in the series tonight. They'll have to slow down that guy, MVP Mike Trout, and it'll be the job of Kendall Graveman, the rookie right-hander. So it is Game 2 of this 3-game series from Anaheim. It's the Oakland A's and the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, and you'll see it right here on Comcast Sportsnet, California. Hey again, everybody. Welcome to Oakland A's Baseball. Along with Ray Fosse, I'm Glenn Kuiper. A's will face C.J. Wilson, the left-hander, tonight. And for the most part, the A's have struggled against lefties this year, Ray, but a little bit better lately. And a lot of that has to do with Josh Phegley, who's really starting to swing the bat.
You know, I think the biggest thing for Josh Phegley is the fact that he knows his job is to catch, to be the defensive catcher, and I think it's helped him offensively because he's done a tremendous job behind the plate. He takes a lot of pride in his throwing, and he gets the ball to second as quickly as any catcher we've ever seen, and it really helps him to be able to do that because he is concentrating on catching. So what does he do? Last night he hits a double down the left field line, and more importantly, he gets into a fastball and unloads his second home run of the season. So all this is working well for him, and I think Stephen Vogt said it best, who's a left-handed hitter catching. He said there's nobody that handles a left-handed pitcher any better than Josh Phegley.
All right, the 1-2 punch of Trout and Pujols, well, it's as good as any 1-2 punch in all of baseball. They have 35 combined home runs already this year.
Well, it's unbelievable what Mike Trout last year is the most valuable player, continues to swing the bat well. Last night, unfortunately for Scribner and the Athletics, he tied the game in the 8th inning. But what he is capable of doing, this guy can do it also. When you pass Mickey Mantle on the most home run list, that's saying a lot for Albert Pujols. He is healthy, he's swinging the bat well, he's using the whole field, and whenever he goes to the opposite field and goes in the seats, you know he is staying on the pitches and becomes a very dangerous hitter. So pick your poison. Who are you going to pitch to? Trout or Pujols or even Calhoun, the way they're all three playing?
Well, that'll be the decision Kendall Graveman will have to make. He's looking for his 4th win of the year, and he will be opposed by, again, the left-hander C.J. Wilson. We'll have lineups and first pitch from the Big A big crowd with fireworks coming up after the game, so stick around.
Tonight, California is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Taste the new black pepper cheeseburger today, only at Jack in the Box. And by Toyota, the full-time automaker with the longest-lasting vehicles in America. Toyota, let's go places.
Vogt and Laurie are ready, and so are we. It's the A's and the Angels, game 2 of this 3-game series. 5-4 win last night for the Angels in dramatic fashion.
Too dramatic, huh?
Too dramatic for our liking,
yeah.
Yes, but an entertaining game, if nothing else. Here's the game time weather for tonight, presented by the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Get to the beach. The admission-free boardwalk is now open daily. Nice night, 70 degrees, just a very, very light breeze. So we've had awfully nice weather here, really not much humidity, with a day game tomorrow and then on to San Diego for the rest of the road trips. Angels take the field wearing the red tops tonight. They're led by their starting pitcher, the left-hander C.J. Wilson. So Wilson and the Angels take the field. So let's take a look at the lineup for the Athletics tonight. It starts with that man, Billy Burns, the switch hitter. He's in center field. Mark Canha will bat second and play left. Ben Zobrist hits third and plays second. Billy Butler in the cleanup spot. Josh Phegley in the fifth spot. He's done a real nice job against left-handed pitching this year. Laurie hits sixth and plays third base. Stephen Vogt will place first base, and he will hit seventh. Marcus Semien is the shortstop, hitting eighth. And Sam Fuld gets a start tonight. He will bat ninth and play right field.
C.J. Wilson will get the start for the Angels against the Athletics. Of course, a former closer with the Rangers, former starter with the Rangers, 5-year contract with the Angels, but probably has not pitched up to the expectations of what the Angels had hoped whenever they signed him, but he's trying to get on track, and I think the Angels would be very happy if he would pitch the way that they would hope and the way he has pitched throughout his career against the Athletics especially. They know what to expect from him. Fastball, cutter, curveball, slider, and changeup. And in the rotation, he's supposed to make the start against the A's on that Thursday afternoon, but Tropiano, he was scratched. Tropiano made the start. And unfortunately for the A's, he pitched well against the Athletics, but C.J. Wilson back in the rotation now.
Defensively for the Angels, Matt Joyce will play left field tonight. Trout in center, Calhoun in right. David Freese back in the lineup. His hamstring been bothering him a little bit, but he's back in there. Ibar is the shortstop. Giovatella is the second baseman, and Efren Navarro, who played left field last night, plays first base tonight. Pujols will DH, and Carlos Perez is again behind the plate. Mike Scioscia thrown out of the game last night, back in his familiar spot tonight. 16th season as the manager of the Angels.
Well, it sounds like Jerry Dipoto, the general manager, had his contract extension picked up, or at least the option, to 16. Mike Scioscia through 18, but I didn't know, but evidently Scioscia has an out after this year. Yeah, so he can opt out if he desires. I doubt that he will, as he is the longest tenured manager, and I can't see him going any place, especially except here in Southern California.
So we are set to roll with Billy Burns stepping in, hitting from the right side. 312 the average with a couple of home runs. Wilson's first pitch is down and away, and we are underway. Wilson looking for his fourth win of the year, the 34-year-old left-hander. And on the second pitch of the game, Burns drops one into left center field for a base hit. So Burns is aboard to start the ball game.
Well, he took a first pitch for a ball and hit the second pitch, a strike for a base hit. And from the right side, got a pretty good pitch to hit, did Billy Burns, and did not waste any time. And so the speed of Billy Burns gets on base, and they were shading him in right center, but because of the fastball location and the fact that it was a 1-0 count, kind of went against the defense where Trout was playing.
So Burns aboard. Here's Mark Canha. Canha had a couple of hits last night and a couple of stolen bases. Close play at first. Canha's been swinging the bat pretty well lately.
Well, a step off by Wilson, not your conventional pitch or throw to first base.
Montana swings at the first pitch and bounces it foul. Base Steelers 3 for 7 this year against C.J. Wilson.
As I mentioned last night, Mark Canha has hit all of his home runs against right-handers. Very quick on the pitch from C.J. Wilson. So maybe he can hit his first home run against a left-hander.
And this one's hit high in the air, playable for Calhoun to his right, and he's got it. Umpire alignment for tonight is Chris Conroy behind home plate. Angel Hernandez at first, Scott Berry at second, Ted Barrett at third. It was Chris Conroy who threw out Mike Scioscia. Conroy was the first base umpire.
So he can argue balls and strikes.
Sure.
Tonight from the dugout at that level. Kev, I still think, get down the dugouts, you really can't see much of anything. And I think we have the best view of anybody.
Yes, we do.
Right here, right behind home plate, see the whole field.
Well, here's Zobrist, who takes a fastball first strike at the knees. Zobrist hitting .210, couple of home runs, 16 RBIs. He was 1 for 4 last night, single and a couple of strikeouts. Burns not running, and off-speed pitch, and Zobrist missed it. C.J. Wilson is in his 10th year in the big leagues. His 4th year with the Angels.
And a huge contract.
Yep.
A 5-year deal. That's 75.
Zobrist did not go around. Close though. Yeah, 4th year of that 5-year contract for Wilson. Will become the 3rd pitcher if he wins tonight since 2000 with 90 wins, 50 saves, and 1,200 strikeouts. How about that? Lowe and Dempster, the other two.
Well, really, he's had the best of both worlds. He was a closer, which usually they're paid nicely, and as a starting pitcher, even better coming to the Angels for the deal.
He has a career record of 89 and 67. With Anaheim, his record is 46 and 32. And obviously with the Angels, he has just been a starter. So pretty good winning percentage. Zobrist rolls at foul back behind home plate. Been roughed up his last 2 starts, has C.J. Wilson. He's lost them both. And he's given up 11 earned runs in 13 innings against the Rays and against the Yankees. So that's where it's part of the last 5 starts. Before that, his first 7, he was pretty good. Tapped slowly toward third. That's a fair ball. Freeze throws, and it's dug out on the other end by Navarro. Nice play, really, on both ends. Freeze grabbed it. Ball was just fair.
Well, it was going to stay fair, so Freeze just coming back into the lineup tonight and makes a very nice play. And backhand, a little scoop at first by Navarro, who's giving Albert Pujols a half a game off as Pujols the DH and Navarro moving from left field where he was last night to first base. And a nice pick. I liked his comparison of the #1 draft choice and the money that player got compared to what Navarro got. A little bit different. 50th round for him, which they don't even have anymore. But the most important thing, and I think he said it best, Kaepernick, is that he's the big leagues.
He's here, yeah.
And well, the young players, young kids coming out of high school or college are drafted, and they haven't made it. And give Navarro a lot of credit. And talking to Mark Langston, said that the way he has played, he should be playing every day, someplace. At least give him a chance to see what he could do with the bat, which he showed last night that he could hit.
Butler fouls it, and the count is 1-1. Actually, I don't think he fouled it. I think it was just a swing and a miss, and the catcher missed it. Either way, count 1-1 to Butler.
A little frustration showing on Billy Butler and the way he's missing some pitches, and you're right, he just missed it. Did Perez, but it stayed close to him. So no advancement by Burns from second.
4 home runs, 29 RBIs for Butler. And that's a strike on the outside corner. And Billy in a scuffle right now. He's 2 for his last 24. And that is why the average is now down to 246.
Fastball in and a fastball away. And Wilson will do that, work both sides of the plate. And he's got the cutter slider that'll throw inside to the right-handers, also throw it backdoor.
Blocked by Carlos Perez. That one bounced way out in front of home plate. Burns led off the inning with a single. He now sits at second with 2 outs.
Well, after last night, the one missed block by Perez, back again tonight, and towards the latter part of the game and tonight showing a much better work behind the plate, especially blocking balls in the dirt. Maybe Mike Socha saw the replays, some of the highlights or lowlights.
2-2 pitch, breaking ball, and a good one, and Butler swings and misses. So the A's strand a runner at second, and they do not score. Angels coming up. They will face that man, Kendall Graveman. The bat here in the bottom of the first. The lineup has Ibar, Trout, Pujols, Calhoun, Freese, Giovitella, Navarro, Perez, and Joyce.
Kendall Graveman, 4 starts before going down to AAA, 4 starts since returning, and a much different pitcher. One of the starts, the first 4, was against these Angels and did not last out of the 4th inning. So a different pitcher, sinker ball working. He slowed himself down, and he's pitched very well. Actually, in the last 4 starts, should have had 3 wins. Unfortunately, after 7 great innings, 7+ innings last Sunday, got a no decision with the Red Sox coming from behind.
So he'll face Eric Ibar, the switch hitting shortstop, who steps in. Ibar, 262 with a homer and 19 RBIs. And he was 0 for 4 last night. If you see how this lineup is put together, you realize how important Ibar is because of the guys who are coming up next. Zobrist has it. 1 out. Defensively behind Kendall Graveman, it'll be Canna in left, Burns in center, Folden right, Laurie, Simeon, Zobrist, and Vogt third to first, with Fegley doing the catching.
Well, you're right about the guys coming up, and Ibar's been hitting the ball hard, at least in this series. We know that, and it is fortunately from the A's not putting him on base, especially with Trout, Pujols, Calhoun coming up.
First pitch to Trout is a strike. Well, Trout really did it all last night. He was 3 for 3 with a walk, a couple of runs scored, so he kind of was the igniter, and then when he needed to, he went long ball.
You want to see a swing on a cut fastball. Watch Scribner. That says it all. All you have to do is watch the pitcher. He'll tell you what he just did. And Trout did the rest, and way over the batter's eye in center field.
Four game-tying home runs in the 8th inning or later, tied for most in the majors. That's since 2014, so really a year and a half. $18 home runs this year, 37 RBIs. He's got a couple of home runs against the A's this year. He's 9 for 26 with the 2 bombs against the Athletics.
He got Jesse Hahn. We know that. That was in Oakland. Last year he got Sonny Gray with a curveball that most hitters would be swinging over, missing completely, but Trout hit it and hit it hard for a home run. That's why Sonny's throwing a lot of sliders now.
3-2 pitch, here it is. And that one's belted to center field, but Burns should have room. He does. He's got it, 2 outs.
You know, they talk about movement on the fastball, and we saw last night with the cutter going away from Trout. This ball has slight movement, got in on the hands, maybe just a little bit on the trademark, which is not crisply hit as it was last night, and you can tell the difference. And that's why, from a hitter standpoint, any kind of movement on a fastball, they don't like it, because they want to see a four-seamer, they want to see it on the sweet part of the bat, and they want to get the crack of the bat that we heard last night, unfortunately.
Here's Pujols, who rolls it foul. Pujols, 267, 17 home runs, and 32 RBIs. Just a bit outside. 537 career home runs for Pujols. 11 behind Mike Schmidt for 15th in the all-time home run list. Pujols right now 16th, just past Mickey Mantle. Graveman looking for a nice, quiet first inning. And a little strike call, 2-2.
You know, if you're a young pitcher, as Graveman is, first year really pitching at the major league level, you really have to concentrate on the front of the uniform and not the back. Forget about the names, because there's some pretty. Oops.
That one's got a chance to go, and it will go. Career home run number 538. And Albert Pujols gives the Angels a 1-0 lead.
Well, we just talked about the ball that ran in on Trout a little bit up. This one ran into the wheelhouse of Albert Pujols, and he just dropped the head of the bat. They tried to go in. That's not a good thing to do, because really you're pitching into his strength by going inside. Begley wanted it in, and whether it got where he wanted or not, probably not. But you make a mistake in that part to a power hitter who is a very hot hitter, it's not really a location. You almost rather go slider away, fastball away, and let him try to pull a pitch that's outside, not the one that's inside.
And that one hit pretty well to left field. Canna into left center. He's got it, so Calhoun is retired. But the Angels get a solo home run by Albert Pujols, and they lead 1-0 after 1.
June the 19th after the A's play the Angels. 6:35 p.m. contest. Fans can watch the post-game fireworks show from the outfield grass, but as always, on-field capacity is limited. Get your tickets today at athletics.com/fireworks. That will be 1 week from last night, the 19th. Next Friday at the Coliseum.
So 1-0 on the Pujols home run. Angels lead, and here's Fegley. Fegley, Laurie, and Vogt. First pitch is a fastball just a bit outside. In the open of our show, we talked a little bit about the A's against left-handed pitching and how Fegley was doing a good job, and Fegley is going to be thrown out. A shot right back off Wilson, and Wilson points at his glove saying it hit him in the glove, so he's okay.
Well, if it hit him in his glove, which he said it did, it really did a good job getting back to Perez. He made a great play. And he would know, and very dangerous for a pitcher following through and protecting.
There it was.
Actually, right off his left hip. Bang, bang. And Tay Perez fired his mask and came out and threw a bullet to first base. It's a great way to get an assist. I always think about that. It's a 1-2-3 put out. How about that?
So here's Laurie, who takes inside. But the A's as a team this year, against left-handed pitching, hitting .227, against right-handed pitching, .265. Now that .227 has gone up recently. So the A's have gotten a little bit better against left-handed pitching. Not a lot, but a little. Overall, their record is 3-12 in games started by a left-hander against them. So an area that needs to get a little bit better.
Sometimes a team that faces back-to-back lefties like the A's, Santiago last night, pitching for the Angels, and Wilson tonight, I think it might benefit, but I don't know that it does that much, especially the numbers that unfortunately show that. Aaron Bush, the A's hitting coach, and of course gives him the reports, and I did ask him about players who will go to him when a new pitcher comes in. He says, you know, we have these scouting reports. He said, we try to keep them simple, because he said, when I know a new pitcher comes in, you're going to have to talk about what he throws. Sure. And it's really kind of a refresher. So that's why they minimize. I mean, they go over, have all the scouting reports, but Aaron Bush knows that they're going to ask him quite a bit.
Votella has it, flips to first. So 2 outs here in the second inning. Here's our T-Mobile game changer. Athletics had back-to-back home runs last night. It happened in the 4th inning. It started with Laurie, and then it was followed by Fegley. Both of them came off Hector Santiago. And it was the second time this year the A's have gone back-to-back. First time was in Kansas City. Ike Davis and Stephen Vogt. That time Laurie grounds out, shakes his hand a little bit, may have gotten jammed. So Vogt hits with 2 outs. Swinging and a miss. Vogt pulling off a little bit on a breaking ball.
It's a big game for the A's because they know after losing last night when they had the lead late, a win tonight and win tomorrow, they can win the series, which is what they're all about right now. So now it's up to Kendall Graveman to try to keep the Angels just where they are and a chance to come back.
One and 2 to Vogt, who was 0 for 4 last night. A pop-up, foul territory. Freeze may have a play. No, it's well back in amongst the spectators. The fireworks after the game tonight, so a good crowd, not a sellout, but a nice crowd.
And the Angels do not advertise that on-field capacity is limited. They don't do that here. That's why, especially the Coliseum, they rope off the infield. The fans can go down on the grass, take the blankets, and enjoy the fireworks, which will be next Friday. But they will start the fireworks pretty quickly here after the game.
Swinging and a miss on a high fastball, 92 miles an hour. So Vogt strikes out. Second strikeout for Wilson. We go to the bottom of the second, 1-0 Angels. Brought to you by Evergood Sausage Company. Get grillin'. 1-0. The Angels lead the A's. Game 2 of the series. For the Angels, they'll send up Freese, Giovitella, and Navarro. Pujols with the home run in the first. First pitch to Freese is hit to the backstop. Freese battling a sore hamstring. He's missed the last couple games.
And you knew he'd have to make the play in the first inning.
Yep.
A slow hit ball, but he handled it nicely.
Kyle Kubica, the young left-handed hitter, was the third baseman last night.
Now the game that Graveman faced the Angels, it was Freese actually in the series that seemed to get RBI hits up the middle. And a 2-run single up the middle off Graveman. First inning.
Freese has 7 RBIs against the A's this year, and this is the 9th game that they played, but Freese didn't play last night. So
I remember a couple of games in that series back-to-back, base hits up the middle in the first inning, and one time he was thrown out trying to go to second.
Base hit left field. Well, Freese, I think, is an important part of this Angels equation. We know what they have in the middle of their lineup, but if they can get somebody that can knock in runs in spots 5, 6, 7, that would be huge for them. And Freese certainly has the capability of doing that. Got 32 RBIs this year. So leadoff man aboard. Here's Johnny Giovitella. He's having a nice season, and he's been tough on the A's. He's 8 for 24 with a home run against the A's this year.
I think a lot of times a sinker ball pitcher wants to pitch certain locations and try to get the sink, but if it's not working, you have to work to get to the point where you can successfully, especially go inside. And until you do, you work on it.
Runner goes. Swing and a miss on a hit and run. Throw is high, but the tag is put on, and Freese is out. It was a hit and run, and Graveman threw the best pitch possible. It was low and away and almost in the dirt. Giovitella could not make contact, and Fegley throws out Freese.
Well, Fegley again showing off the strong arm, and granted it was a high throw, and Giovitella actually almost fell across the plate and interfered with Fegley, and might have anyway almost hit his hand on his helmet. That would have been hard to handle if the catcher's hand goes on the hitter's helmet.
See, to me, like just watching that, and I know there was no contact made, and the throw was fine, but how can that not be interference? I mean, he is clearly interfering with the catcher.
See, Eddie Montague, I asked him about that, and he said catcher does not have to hit the hitter. He said if that happens and you have to throw over and change the way in which you're throwing, the dangerous thing there is seriously hitting the helmet of the hitter. Watch as he falls across the plate. Really,
look how far he is across.
That's interference. Now, see, as his follow through, he came close to hitting Giovatelli. If he hits his helmet with his hand, he probably has to leave the game.
And again, this is pure speculation, but the reason Fegley's throw was a little high was probably because of that.
He threw over him. Exactly.
I mean, you saw Giovatelli's foot, and his foot touched the far side of home plate, so that means right there he's literally stepping over home plate.
Exactly. It's not called that much. Unfortunately, it was out, but specifically on Eddie Montague, a great umpire, and we've seen him. We've seen him at the Coliseum, and I asked him that specifically.
Swing and a miss. Good slider there, and Giovatelli missed it. So 2 outs.
Because, Cap, I'll be honest with you, I've always thought that you almost had to make contact. Jason Kendall, Ron Hassey, a couple of guys I could think of, they were the best. And when they followed through, they would hit. They would make sure they hit because it would cause interference. But that's when Eddie said, no, if you have to change what you're doing as a catcher because the hitter in front of you, and you're right about the high throw to second. He was trying to throw over him and fortunately got it there quickly enough to apply the tag and get him out.
2 outs for Efren Navarro. Navarro playing first base tonight. Out in left field last night. He's been back and forth between AAA and the big leagues this year. In fact, this is the 3rd time he's been back in the big leagues. What the Angels are doing is they're looking for somebody to play left field. And last night Navarro played there. And I mean, listen, it's a casting call right now. If they can find somebody to play out there, maybe that's a spot where they have to go get somebody.
Well, this is June the 13th, and July 31st, the trading deadline without having to clear waivers. And you're right, that is the time as teams maybe start to fall out of contention. You might see a left fielder available, and the Angels will not spare anything to try to get somebody if they need it.
The Angels are 11th in the league in total runs scored. They're 5th in home runs. So they're hitting home runs, but not necessarily scoring runs in bunches. In fact, they're 10th in slugging percentage as a team. So they could probably use another batter. Hit hard. Zobrist dives, cannot get it. Navarro with a 2-out single.
Now, Ken, how about this? The home run and the base hit by Freese. Look at the location that the guys have put together. Look at the location. Here is Pujols, supposed to be inside. Look where it is and what happens. And look at Freese, same thing. And look where this one is. Both times, catchers set up inside. And look at the location. If you have difficulty pitching in, you're going to get in trouble.
Or don't. Right.
Or even better. I mean, if you can't get off the plate, then don't. You're exactly right. And that's the problem, because hitters have a tendency to open up anyway. And you pitch inside and you miss, it's like, even if it's on the corner and not off the plate, it's like it's down the middle of the plate because they're opening up. And that's 2 great shots of missed fastballs in, and unfortunately one went over the fence.
Don't you think fastball on the inside corner and to get a called strike, that's very hard to do.
Oh, extremely.
I think it's easier to get a called strike on the outside corner
Absolutely.
than the inside corner.
Because really the umpire, we have seen more critical. Look at this home plate umpire, Chris Conroy, looking at the inside corner. Whereas in the outside, he does have the angle, but
it's just a hard pitch to make because you're worried about making a mistake or hitting the guy.
Exactly. But the game we did Wednesday or Thursday, the simulcast, Chichi Gonzalez, see how well he pitched inside? But he was off the plate. They weren't strikes. They're purpose pitches, and it helped him set up other pitches.
Yeah, and we said, I mean, it looks like this young man has a pretty good idea how to pitch, and that was one of the things we noticed. in there for a strike. 1-2 to Carlos Perez, the young catcher. 264 with a couple of home runs for Perez. Getting a chance to play quite a bit. Chris Iannetta got off to a super slow start this year, and Perez has done a pretty good job. Iannetta hitting 164. And you like to give the veteran guy as much leeway as possible, but at some point you make a change, and in this case Perez starting to play much more. Simeon charges, he's got it, shovels to second side, retired. Couple of hits, nothing else for the Angels, and we're headed to the third. Angels 1, A's nothing. Post-game and on Sportsnet Central, and it's all the way through the playoffs. Our Game 5 coverage begins tomorrow at 3 p.m. That is a 2-hour event, and it's going to be on CSN+. It's the coverage that you expect from the home of the authentic Warrior fans. Game 5, Warriors-Cavs tomorrow at Oracle Arena with the series tied 2-2. So really, Ray, it's a 3-game series.
Yes, it is. Best of 3. And then somebody, it's going to be the best of 1 after tomorrow. Somebody's going to have a 3-2 lead. And we hope it's the Warriors.
Right. So Game 5 tomorrow. Game 6 on Tuesday in Cleveland. And if necessary, Game 7 at Oracle Arena on Friday. So Sunday, Tuesday, Friday if the series were to go all 7 games. Tap back to Wilson. Who fires to first, 1 out. So after that leadoff single to Burns, 7 in a row retired by C.J. Wilson. C.J. forgot to button his shirt. Forgot to button his shirt. So he's tightened up now a little bit. Here's Sam Fuld. I think Bob Melvin has liked what he has seen from Sam Fuld lately, giving him a start tonight.
And Skip also said it's kind of a scheduled off day for Josh Reddick. His numbers have not been that great against C.J. Wilson, so he's available to come off the bench if necessary. You're right about Sam Fuld. He has taken advantage of the opportunity and 4 hits in the last 2 games. Pinch hit last night. So Reddick with a big 2-run home run last night. Shoemaker will be pitching tomorrow, so he'll be back in the lineup.
eye bar over near the seats, and it drops and then bounces up into the seats.
This is a big part of the A's game last night. Josh Reddick just on a fastball mislocation and crushed it into the right field seats. And for Reddick, giving him 10 home runs, and that gave the A's the lead. But unfortunately, it did not last that long. 2-out hit. And then Reddick kind of got the 2-out single. Then Reddick unloaded.
So Fold behind in the count, 1-2. Fastball inside. So we'll see Wilson go inside, try to back Fold off, and we'll see if he then goes outside with a pitch. Misses badly.
Well, actually, the fastball in was more of a setup, and that's what we're talking about. That if you pitch inside, it is more of a set up another pitch. Maybe to back it up inside, or you could always go away with a slider, maybe another fastball.
(3-2) a bit high. Fold checks the swing, and the A's have a 1-out base runner. First walk issued by Wilson, and here's Burns.
Well, Wilson has struggled with the Athletics. It's because of bases on balls. In a game last year, a whole bunch of walks, just 2/3 of an inning.
Yeah, we've seen him where he'll roll along for a couple innings and be pretty good, and then he'll kind of lose control. Burns bunts it, and it bunts it off the camera right next to the A's dugout. Burns singled in the first inning. And a line drive toward left center field. A's come in 25-38 on the year. So 13 games under 500. So they got a lot of work to do to get back to that 500 mark. And Freeze, nice play at third, and they turn the double play on the very speedy Billy Burns. So it was a shot right at Freeze. And he made a nifty play, and it goes 5-4-3, and that'll do it for the A's in the top of the third.
Voting is exclusively online and available on your computer, tablet, and smartphone. Vote up to 35 times at athletics.com. Well, it's coming up July the 14th, Midsummer Classic. The A's will finish the first half in New York and Cleveland before enjoying their time off for the All-Star break.
Shift was on for Matt Joyce, and he is retired. That's right, New York, Cleveland. So whoever makes it from the A's, they'll go Cleveland to Cincinnati, which is not a very far ways to go. Could probably drive it if you wanted to.
Probably. Yeah. Was it Carmona? We were there and he was announced.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
It was a while, yeah.
It's like 2009.
Yeah,
Fausto Carmona.
But that was he pitched and was horrible.
That's right. That's right. He found out right before.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. How he found out and they said he's an all-star.
Zobrist scoops it up. And 2 quick outs, both ground ball outs here for Kendall Graveman in the bottom of the 3rd. Well, it's kind of like the College World Series where or the Super Regionals, which were last weekend, and some of those Super Regionals extended into Monday, and that's when the first 2 rounds of the draft were, and there was a handful of kids who got picked. So, I mean, literally, you get picked, and you're going out on the field to play soon after that. I was watching a little bit of the College World Series game late this afternoon, and the A's first-round pick, Richie Martin, the shortstop from Florida, was playing. One and one to Trout. Mike Trout was a first-round draft pick. 24 teams still kicking themselves over that draft. So it is a little luck of the draw there.
Yes.
Trout was the 25th player chosen in 2009. And there's a shot and a base hit. Canna's got to hustle over to get it, and Trout has his 4th hit in this series.
They're talking about Efren Navarro, who drafted 2007, and his Trout. I mean, there's not much he can't hit. You just hope to keep him in the park. And,
well, he's a low ball hitter.
Yeah, exactly. So he went down. That's perfect for him to go down and get that one. But I was surprised to read that there was a guy by the name of Matt Harvey that was not signed by the Angels in 07.
He was a high I don't know if he was a first-round pick, but he was a high school.
They couldn't sign him or didn't sign him, and of course, there's a few Angels people kicking themselves about that.
You know that nobody will ever admit it, but there's probably 3 or 4 teams that were picking right before the Angels in that draft with Trout, and they.
Well, Albert Pujols, there's a location, that fastball right in his wheelhouse, and he willed it out of the house. I mean, it was crushed. And you know, they just announced in-house a note about Albert Pujols, and if a man is not hot, when he is the first since Mo Vaughn in 2000 to hit 10 home runs in the last 15 games. So I'd say it's hot.
And he tied Ernie Banks on the all-time RBI list. Tied him for 29th on that list.
This is do you guys, let's go over the scouting report again on Albert Pujols. I and Mike Trout, who just think, what's your thought process here? He's hot. He's already hit a solo home run. What are you thinking? And we talked about this Trout, Pujols, Calhoun, and now Freese, who's a good hitter, and that's 4 in a row. That it's going through a tough lineup whenever you have to face those 4 consecutively.
So 1-0 to Pujols. Keeps it away, and now it's 2-0.
I think the last inning when Perez, the catcher, grounded out to shortstop on a fastball away, tried to pull it. And if it's an outside pitch and you try to pull it, a lot of times you will hit it on the ground, especially against a sinker ball pitcher. You make a mistake inside, the result can be something you're not hoping for.
He's keeping it away, but missing, and now 3-0 with Cole Calhoun waiting in the on-deck circle.
And I would think he will have the green light. When Albert is as hot as he is right now, I would think there's not even a sign given him on 3-0.
In first strike. That home run by Pujols in the first was the first home run he has hit against the A's this year. Trout's hit a couple. Hit hard to Laurie, who scoops. He'll go to second in time. Side retired. Hitting a runner left. Fourth inning coming up. It'll be Canna, Zobrist, and Butler. 1-0 Angels.
Bowl. 15,000 fans will pick up the ball courtesy of Xfinity. And it's on Sunday, June the 28th when the A's play host to the Kansas City Royals. Get your tickets today by calling 877-493-BALL or logging on to athletics.com/tickets. So Saturday the 27th, celebrate 50 years, Kansas City Athletics and Kansas City Royals in town. And Blue Moon Odom saw him tonight, and he talked about how he's looking forward to that 27th. And Monty Moore and Country Breakfast will be there against his former teammates.
Line shot into the glove of Freese, and Canna can't believe it.
Well, after Billy Burns lined into a double play last inning, a hard hit ball handled by Freese turned a 5-4-3 double play, and now Mark Canna crushing a fastball into the glove of Freese. Past him, it's a double down the line to start the inning. Instead, back to dugout.
So 1 out, and here's Zobrist. Zobrist takes a fastball in for a strike. Zobrist grounded out to Freese in the first inning. Freese made a nice play charging it. Past Mike Gallego. Gag says, I don't want anything to do with that one. Just hit a little bit too hard. And I don't blame him. Butler to follow here in the top of the fourth inning. A's with just one hit, and that was by Burns leading off the game. He singled. Close pitch, 2-2, 86 miles an hour. Wilson with 1 walk and 2 strikeouts. He's been fairly sharp in the early going. The A's have hit a couple of balls pretty hard off him. Pitch, and Zobrist fouls it back, chased a high fastball.
You see the look on Ben's face. And remember last night he also chased a high fastball with a runner in scoring position. And maybe the high pitches, hitters sometimes have a difficult time laying off the pitch, waist and above.
And there's a shot, just foul. Another high pitch. That time Zobrist got on top of it.
There's the man.
Yeah, it's the bald man.
I was talking to him tonight. I said, how was that? He said, if there would have been a third in a row, he said, I had to run to center field twice. I said, I was done. He works down
for the bullpen call.
That's right. I'm calling for oxygen.
Not him calling for the bullpen call. I said I would have been calling for the bullpen call.
Well, Bubba down in the visiting clubhouse, and he was talking about his time that he was down in the bullpen or down in that line in the 82 playoffs against the Brewers. And he said they were throwing beach balls all game. He said it wore him out.
Tapped foul. Oh, you haven't had a beach ball yet in this series.
I was thinking about that because I asked Bubba about that. He said something about Angel Stadium. They always having beach balls here. He said
we haven't seen them. That's good.
Exactly. We definitely don't want them, and I think our guys down the line don't want them either because they'd have to retrieve it.
Have never got a real definition of why it's done.
And evidently, I guess they can't bring them in inflated. They bring them in here and inflate them and then start throwing them around. So hopefully they won't do it anymore.
Calhoun is going to have a play near the line. He's got it. So long at bat, but Zobrist flies out. So 2 outs here in the top of the 4th inning. And that'll bring up Butler. Butler struck out swinging to end the 1st inning. That came with a runner at second. Man, a hard slider down and in. And you can tell that Billy Butler, who we've seen long enough, is a very good hitter. Well, there's a beach ball. Let's just keep it off the field. It's working its way down, all the way down the third baseline. But we've seen Billy Butler enough to know when he's a little off because he's not a guy who chases out of the strike zone very much. And he did it again. And just like that, Butler is retired. So that is not the kind of at-bat we've come to used to seeing from Billy Butler. So 3 up, 3 down for the A's. it all with Sportsnet Central. It's brought to you by Hyundai, and it's tonight at 10:30, and it's on our sister station, Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area. We'll have all the highlights from our A's-Angels game here in Anaheim. Warriors getting physical in the NBA Finals. I think they need to do that. And the Warriors insider Monty Poole will have the latest. But you're all ready for Game 5 tomorrow night. Here's Cole Calhoun leading it off. First pitch drops in for a strike. Calhoun hit a fly ball to left field to end the first. Calhoun, Freese, and Giovatello. That is just foul. Very close.
Well, the home run last night that gave the Angels a lead, a pitch that was elevated. He knew he got it off Evan Scribner, and that was a home run by Trout, a near home run by Pujols, and another home run by Calhoun, and that gave the Angels a 5-4 lead that they would hang on and win. Talking to Josh Reddick, and we talked about the changeup, figured that he was going to get 3-2 from Houston Street, and Josh said yes, sat on it, got it, just missed it. And at least he was looking for it, and unfortunately couldn't drive in the tying run.
Graveman kicks, and the 0-2 pitch is lined to left, the base hit. Pretty good job of hitting there by Calhoun. It was a kind of a sinker down and a little bit away, and Calhoun just went right with it. He's got his leadoff single.
It was almost like he was thinking about pulling the ball in the seats first two until he got 2 strikes, and then pitch away, no stride, and took it to the opposite field, and it was a good pitch on the outside corner. Tip your hat to the hitter in that case.
Not a bad approach, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Look for something to pull first couple pitches and get 2 strikes, go the other way. Here's Freese, who had a base hit, and he shoots on the right, and that's a hit. Full gets to it quickly, so Calhoun will stop at second. It was a huge hole on the right side, and Freese had plenty of room for the ball to get through. But that one was up, and that's not where Graveman can work.
And we have seen Freese do exactly that, where he has used the whole field, trying to hit behind the runner. Well, Kubica didn't bunt last night. You'd have to think Giovatelli, who is a pretty good handler of the bat, would be laying down a sacrifice. But you never know. Ineta did not do it in St. Petersburg with first and second. Kubica didn't last night.
Not bunting, and the first pitch is a strike. Giovatello struck out in the second inning. That's the only strikeout for Graveman so far tonight. He has not walked anybody.
Well, the lineup kind of dictates maybe at times whether a manager is going to give the bunt sign. Aradis Arcina was going through signs given to him by Mike Scioscia to Giovatello. I say that because Navarro, the left hand in the on-deck circle, so I guess you could look at Perez being a right-handed hitter if they intentionally walk Navarro to load the bases and put the bat in Perez's hand. Or did Giovatello get one pitch to try to do something and now be given a sacrifice? We don't know, but just a little surprised that in this series already we've not seen more attempts to sacrifice by the Angels, which is something that Mike Scioscia usually has his hitters do quite often.
So Graveman is ready. Giovatello not bunting, and the pitch is down and away. So 1-1 the count. Calhoun at second, Freese at first. They both singled. 6 hits now for the Angels. Lori even with the bag. That one's tapped foul at the plate. And Graveman looking for a ground ball. The left-handed hitting Efren Navarro is the next scheduled hitter. Pitch is tapped out in front, and it's a foul ball. Chris Conroy called it quickly. Fegley is asking him about it. Fegley says it hit home plate and then bounced out front.
I think I would just let it go because the only play he had was to get the runner first base. And see where it bounces up. And this is Fegley getting out and catch it, and it does take one hop, and that's what's when it's spun back. If he had gotten it before it hit the ground, probably would have been a fair ball, but 2 runners would advance too.
So it would have been like a bunt.
Exactly. Sometimes when a ball checks up like that, it kind of goes back between your legs after you make contact, and that's not good.
Outfield shifted a little bit toward right center. Fold very shallow and right. And he got him with a slider. Giovatelli chased it. So Giovatelli strikes out for the second time.
Well, a good one down and away, and that is twice he's gone after pitches out of the strike zone.
So now Navarro steps up. Navarro had a base hit in the second inning. Angels have had at least one base runner in every inning.
Could have been that Mike Scioscia didn't want to take the bat out of Navarro's hand.
You know what? You may be right. And the first pitch is a changeup that stays low. A lot of times the decision on to bunt or not has a lot to do with who's in the on deck.
Exactly. And to follow him. And in the case of
Canna toward the line, and Canna, nice running catch. He gets it back in quickly, and that's the second out.
Now the versatile Mark Canna, and infield, outfield, and well, that's not easy, but yet with the twilight, Navarro was not able to drive the ball like he did his first at bat to right field. This one to left field, and right at the last instant, Mark Canna able to accelerate a little bit more. I thought it was interesting talking to him, the 2 stolen bases last night. I said, you're based in threat. He said, guys, some in spring training, with your speed, you're going to steal some bases.
He's got good speed.
Yeah, and so it's more of the technique and being able to read a pitcher, and he had a pretty good read against Santiago last night that helped him steal a couple of bases.
So a quick meeting again between Fegley and Graveman. So Perez will hit. Grounded to short to end the second inning. First pitch, swing and a miss. Perez is the young man that in his major league debut on May 5th against the Mariners, he hit a walk-off home run. Not a bad way to spend your first day in the big leagues.
Got a little bit of confusion here between pitcher and catcher. That's a lot of shaking, a lot of discussion, but if they can get it right after first and second, nobody out, trying to get this third out.
Good pitch there. Sinking down and in at 92 miles an hour. So 0-2 the count to Perez.
Yeah, whatever they finally decided to go to, that sinker started back door, actually outside and came back. So not going inside as much. Graveman is not, after Pujols and Freese singled and homered on pitches inside.
It's blocked by Fegley.
It's like pitchers who can throw the two-seam fastball to right-handers, right-hander to right-hander, throw it outside, bring it back over the plate, and then as a hitter, you start thinking, well, he's going to do that, and then you throw a slider away. Yeah. So you have two similar pitches to the same location, one coming back to the plate, the other one going away, trying to get a hitter to chase. Like that.
And a good pitch there. Graveman works out of the jam. Gets a couple of strikeouts, 2 runners stranded. We're headed to the 5th. 1-0 the Angels lead.
Back the clock to 1965, Saturday, June the 27th, and then KCA's club feature Bert Campaneris and John Blue and Odom, who will both throw out the game ceremonial first pitches. 20,000 fans will receive a Charlie O throwback t-shirt presented by Ross, which depicts the iconic A's Mule mascot from the 1960s and the 70s. Monty Moore, talked to him. He's looking forward to it. John Blue and Odom, Campy's going to be there, so some of the great ones from the Kansas City Athletics. And Campy, it seemed like they went from Philadelphia, won championships, Kansas City, I would just stop in the Midwest and then move out the West and win some more championships. But Kansas City did not do much. The great thing about Monty, he would always talk about the Satchel Pages and different guys who played for the Kansas City Athletics during the period of time. And Monty kept all his scorebooks and all the information. So we'll see a lot of that when the Kansas City Royals come to town, and the Kansas City Athletics will kind of remember those days.
Well, the Kansas City A's were the jokingly referred to as the farm system for the Yankees.
That's right. Roger Maris.
Yeah. Strike 3 called, and I think Fegley knew it. A fastball down around the knees. Strikeout number 4 for Wilson. Looked like a pretty good pitch from C.J. Wilson.
Well, Wilson's getting into a nice little rhythm and pace and throwing and using all of his pitches, working quickly.
So 1 away for Laurie, who grounded out to second his first at bat. Slider for a strike. Mariners bounced back today to beat the Astros 8-1 after the Astros pounded Felix Hernandez last night. So that series tied game apiece. A couple of home runs for Logan Morrison. He had 5 RBIs. So Seattle 8, Houston 1.
Well, maybe the Seattle pitcher got a little upset when the catcher Sucre pitched so well last night.
Yeah, that's never good.
Had a position player. Yeah, that's. They said he looked too much like a pitcher throwing 90. So.
Well, that cannot make Felix Hernandez happy when the
no.
position player actually pitched better than Felix, which you would think that's almost impossible.
Exactly.
It happened last night. Mariners got 5 runs in the first inning of that game, and so they did do the exact same thing to the Astros for what the Astros did to them last night. Bunch of runs early. 2-2 now to Laurie with Vogt to follow.
Laurie saying, okay, when you get set, I'll step in and we can go. And really, this is more Wilson taking the time instead of the hitter.
Check swing, and now a full count. Well, Wilson, he does a lot of what he's doing right now. A lot of walking around on the mound, tugging on the cap, tugging on the jersey.
Big stride, swing, but kept the bat back, did Laurie.
And a curve on 3-2, and it missed badly. So second walk issued by Wilson, and the A's have a 1-out base run.
Kind of hoping that would be a pretty good pitch in the strike zone, because we've seen Brett Laurie handle off-speed pitches quite well.
Rangers beat the Twins again today. 11-7 was the final. So Rangers have won the first 2 games of that series, pounding the baseball at home. Vogt takes outside. Mitch Moreland and Joey Gallo homered. Gallo's home run was estimated at 471 feet. 471.
What part of the stadium did
I
it
don't
go?
know where it went. I don't know. Got upper deck written all over it. A little bit high, and the count 2-0 to Vogt. So the Astros lose, Rangers win, Mariners win, so that's updated. So
It's getting tight.
Rangers just a game and a half back. How about that? So the Angels a chance to get to 2.5 back.
And the A's to 9.5 if they could win. So back where they were last night.
2 pitches lined over Ty Waller's head, foul. So that's the updated AL West. The Twins, on the other hand, have cooled off. They have lost 5 in a row. Vogt takes a strike on the outside corner. So the count even 2-2. Simeon to follow.
I understand Torrey Hunter dropped his appeal.
He did.
Start his suspension. He's a Texan. Maybe he decided to enjoy the time in his home state.
So Vogt trying to get rolling again. Wilson from the stretch, and the pitch is outside 3-2. Close pitch.
Well, you'd have to think he's going to throw him a fastball. I don't know that in this situation to take the chance of maybe hanging a breaking ball for Steven to hit it in the seats, but stay with a fastball away. We'll see what he's going to throw him a slider. That is 3 for a slider.
And he got him to chase it. So ball was in the dirt. Struggles continue for Stephen Vogt as he's struck out a couple of times.
Well, he's going back to trying to go after the ball instead of letting it come to him, and he should have, and very capable of recognizing the spin, realize he's going to be out of the strike zone. And I tell you, there's the old cliche, and it's so true. When you try to do too much, you hear it often, but it's so true. And that's right there, trying to do a little bit too much was Vogt.
So here's Simeon.
So Billy Butler struck out on a pitch in the dirt last inning. Fagley called out on a fastball, and then Stephen Vogt swinging on a pitch in the dirt as well.
So 5 strikeouts and 2 walks so far for C.J. Wilson. Simeon in his first at bat bounced back to the pitcher. And there's a shot left field, base hit. Joyce over to cut it off, and they will hold up Laurie as he was digging hard to third. No chance of him scoring there. So Laurie to third, Simeon with the double. And he's got a shot here in the 5th.
Oh, there's a case of a ball gets down in the corner that Joyce can't handle. Good swing by Simeon with a pitch coming in on him. But if Joyce doesn't cut the ball off and it gets to the warning track, Laurie can score. But once that happened, Joyce knew. And Brett Laurie thinking all the way he's going to run to Gallego and make him stop, which he did. And take another 2-out hit from Sam Folt. But that's the difference. The ball hooking down in the corner, hitting the warning track and rolling, and allowing the runner to score from first. But once Joyce cut it off.
So here is Folt, who walked in the 3rd. He's been swinging a hot bat, and the A's need a hit. Four for 11 in his career versus Wilson. That one catches the outside corner, a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. 73 pitches for Wilson. Outfield is really straight away for Folt, as is the infield. Slider snaps in for a strike. Sam was bending back out of the way a little bit.
Knee buckler, and we've seen that happen, and now the protect mode.
A slightly open stance by Folt. And the 1-2 outside. So Wilson trying to catch that outside corner. One thing about Wilson, he does not like to give in. He kind of picks at the corners a little bit. Sometimes he does that a little bit too much.
Well, if he doesn't throw the breaking ball hard, like it did Stephen Vogt, he takes a chance of hanging it, and that could be dangerous. And from a left-hand hitter standpoint, that's what you're hoping for if he throws it.
And he gets Folt to go around. They'll throw to first to get the out there. So the slider gets the A's again. As in the end, it's 3 strikeouts in the inning for C.J. Wilson. your team can collaborate at a whole new level with video walls from Prism. Learn how at prism.com. So 1-0 the Angels lead. It was a Pujols home run in the first inning. Joyce, Ibar, and Trout to face Kendall Graveman. Graveman has not walked anybody, and he has struck out 3. Pretty good first pitch strike percentage for Graveman, and he jumps ahead 0-2 to Matt Joyce. Shift is on for Joyce.
Now, the last hit he gave up, or last run he gave up, Kendall Graveman, was the home run to Castillo in the 8th inning on last Sunday's game, and gives up a home run and a run to Pujols in this inning, our first inning of this game.
Yeah, we needed that game in Boston last Sunday to be a 7-inning game.
That's right.
Like a Little League game.
Yeah.
Two pitch to Joyce off his foot. So 64 pitches now for Graveman. Threw 101 in that start in Boston. And that one's hit high in the air right to Billy Burns, who trots to his right. He's got it.
I was interested in listening to the crowd's reaction when a contact is made. It sounds good, but many times it doesn't go far. Others, when they sound good, they go far. Like last night and Pujols tonight.
So here's Ibar, the leadoff man. And Ibar bunts it. Laurie was playing in, scoops, throws, and a nice play by Laurie. He was playing in far enough where he did not have to charge it and pick it up on the move. He actually got to it and settled down and picked it up and threw to first.
But there's definitely,
like he was fielding a regular ground ball.
Exactly. There's definitely a difference whenever Laurie is playing third base. Looking back was Ibar as he went down the line, and you're right, he caught it and just threw it flat-footed from underneath and got a lot on the throw. And he is an energetic player, but he can play some third base. And while he might not hit as many home runs as Josh Donaldson, having another great year. Laurie playing well at third.
Here's Trout, who has hit a fly ball to center field, and he has singled. That on the heels of his 3-for-3 game last night. In there, first strike. So Trout's batting average is at .303. Trout's home run totals, if you're into the whole on pace thing, on pace for 48, I think. Last year he hit 36. His 3 years in the big leagues, he's hit 30, 27, and 36. So he's got a pretty good chance to shoot by that this year if he stays healthy. Had 36 homers, 111 RBIs last year. Lays off the slider.
Well, Mike Scioscia's point about Trout not walking as much because he's swinging a lot of first pitch fastballs and putting them in play. But now Mike Scioscia is seeing his great hitter take the count full to 3-2. Not knowing if he's going to get a two-seam fastball or a slider. They're going to go in.
And that went off his foot, and he goes down hard.
That's the right place to throw the sinker in. It's a good sinker. It's down and in, and Trout banged it off his. That's not off his foot. That's off his shin. It looked like. Oh, no, back foot. Wow. Right there. It looks like it's gone to the front, and it passes right past the front. Got him in the foot of the right foot.
That was a fairly direct hit as well.
See, that doesn't ask. He just puts up his hand.
No, he can do whatever he wants. On the ground to the shortstop. Simeon has it, throws wide, and they got Trout on the tag by Vogt, and that's the third out. And that's the first 3-up, 3-down inning for Kendall Graveman, and we're going to the sixth. Still 1-0 Angels lead.
Graveman, first inning, a home run, but what a job he has done since then. Sliders away, sinkers away. Got Giamatelli a couple of times in the strikeout. Got Perez a good slider. So for Kendall Graveman, again, backing up what he did last Sunday in Boston. 12 innings pitched, 2 earned runs. Those 2 home runs, a couple of walks. None tonight for the A's right-hander. So Kendall Graveman settling down and showing a lot of confidence in him in Detroit, leaving him in the game, picked up the game after the A's and Ben Zobrist the grand slam, and appreciated that. He's been given the opportunity to stay in the rotation and pitch well.
See if the A's can get something going against Wilson. With the leadoff man, Billy Burns, trying to get aboard. Burns a single, and he hit into a double play. So 1 for 2.
But if he's the igniter, then he needs to get some igniting going.
That's exactly right. Fastball is high. So 1 and 2. Canada follow, and then Zobrist here in the 6th for the A's. And strike 3 call. A little delayed call by Chris Conroy. But a strikeout nonetheless. Well, that is 7 now.
That's Perez inside corner and the pitch outside. And really, Conroy, it's a good pitch. Just the mislocation where Perez wanted it. And Billy Burns could not offer a swing at it.
Well, the last 5 outs that Wilson has recorded have all been strikeouts. First pitch to Canna inside. The Blue Jays beat the Red Sox again, Ray, 5-4 in 11 innings. Talk about two teams going in opposite direction. That would be the case there. Canna takes a low strike. The Blue Jays have won 10 in a row. The Red Sox have lost 5 in a row. So Toronto is definitely making their move. Right over our heads.
It was R.A. Dickey today starting for the Blue Jays. Clay Buchholz was on the mound for the Red Sox.
So Canna steps back in the box. Blocked. Indians beat the Tigers 5-4. Justin Verlander back in the rotation. He went 5 innings today, gave up 3 hits and a couple of runs, had just 2 strikeouts, but I'm sure the Tigers are thrilled to have him back. They got a no decision in that game.
Well, it's a day after the anniversary of his no-hitter that he pitched.
So that pitch running in to Canna, and he swings and misses, and another strikeout for Wilson. Give him 8.
Well, talk about changing the eyesight. He went down with a low strike and threw a pitch up and in that was out of the strike zone, but Mark Canna trying to make contact, pulled the hands in, and could not do anything.
So here's Zobrist, who lays off a high pitch. And what a play by Wilson. He grabbed it with his throwing hand, flips it to first, side retired. Hey, you don't see that very often, but he stuck up the left hand and grabbed it and gets the out. And that's a 3-up, 3-down inning for C.J. Wilson. 1-0 Angels as we go to the bottom of the 6th.
And for the Athletics, this is it. A fastball that missed inside, and Albert Pujols hit another one. And it's 1-0, and C.J. Wilson has taken over since then, and he struck out 8 with the elevated fastball. The breaking ball's in the dirt. Hitters are swinging at them, and a last play was one handled by C.J. himself with a bare-handed flip to first base. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PICK ATT, mobilizing your world.
First pitch curveball to Pujols is in for a strike. That home run by Pujols, career home run number 538. Pujols, Trout, and Nelson Cruz all have 18 home runs to lead the American League. That one reached for, poked to right, and that's a base hit for Albert Pujols. So with 538 career home runs, Albert Pujols sits 16th on the all-time home run list. He's 10 away from Mike Schmidt. He's 17 away from Manny Ramirez. And then after Manny Ramirez, Reggie Jackson.
And Reggie with 563, number 500 right here at Angel Stadium as a member of the Angels. Then the California Angels, I think. With the last season, 1987 with the A's.
So pretty good company for Albert Pujols.
Well, and he's got 6 more years left on his contract.
Well,
so he could hit a few, especially if he stays healthy. And there's always that possibility of Albert, when he decides, as he is tonight, he could be a permanent designated hitter.
well, in watching him, it does not look like he's really lost a whole lot of bat speed.
He has not. Smart hitter, as he just got a pitch away, decided to go to right field after hitting the home run inside. I think he may have realized after he hit the home run in the first inning and after the first pitch in the second at bat in the third, Bob Melvin went out. It's 1-0. And from that point forward, everything has been outside. And smart hitters are able to realize maybe I'm not going to get the pitch inside again or where I'm looking, so I'll take what they're giving me. And in this case, a base hit to right field.
2-1 now to Calhoun. Well, Pujols is 35 years old. So you're right. A couple years, the DH will probably suit him just fine, and I think he's going to hit a lot of home runs before it's all said and done. He's got time yet. Roll foul.
Well, you know, the Angels are hopeful, signing him to a 10-year contract, which would take him to his early 40s by the end of that contract. And they're hoping that the back end, when they will pay him a lot of money, continue to pay him a lot of money, that he will at least be able to be a designated hitter if he can't stay on the field.
Yeah, the back end of those contracts is usually where what you're paying out are not getting the production back, but that's just the way those contracts generally pan out.
And Cap, I think the biggest concern, and I don't know, 2016, the collective bargaining agreement expires. The designated hitter will, I'm sure, be a part of the discussions for the future, because now with the 15 teams in each league and you have an interleague game every day, that means it's in National League parks where DHs are not used. And I think they have to establish some continuity, either use it exclusively or abolish it, which should be interesting to see what they do. But of course, if they decide, okay, we're not going to have it, then you have a contract like Albert Pujols, and he has to stay on the field all the time.
Yeah.
That's going to affect somebody like him.
I would think that there's a better chance of the DH being part of the National League than it going away in the American League, but I don't know that the National League is ready for the DH. Maybe, maybe not.
But I just think that if they're going to go to 15 and 15 in each league, which they haven't now, that they have to do something. Right now, the A's are hopeful of getting a ground ball, a sinker ball from Graveman. Would be surprised if Albert is running. If he is, then they're putting a lot of hope that Calhoun's going to make contact.
Calhoun so far, a fly ball to left into single. Pujols runs and a swing and a miss. Throw to second base is in time. Strike him out, throw him out, double play.
Well, Josh can do it, can he? So they did have him running, and a great pitch thrown by Kendall Graveman, a swing and a miss from a breaking ball, and Josh Phegley immediately. Albert was running quite well to second base, got a great jump, but Phegley's gun nailed him, and a quick tag by Simeon. But Josh Phegley, look how quickly he comes out from behind the plate, right over the top with a strong throw, and another caught stealing double play.
Loring in front of Simeon, throws in time, and so the leadoff single is erased on the strike him out, throw him out double play, and nothing for the Angels in the bottom of the 6th. 7th inning coming up. On the state in 2013, Nate Fryman, a walk-off, bases loaded single against Mariano Rivera in the 18th inning at the Coliseum, and capped off a 3-game sweep of the New York Yankees. Let's check it out. Little jam shot, that's all we needed. It was his last appearance in Oakland, Mariano Rivera, and he's won it 3-2.
And Nate Fryman has every bit of that fractured bat. Got pied by Josh Reddick. Such a nice man, huh?
See it. Struggling with injuries this year.
Yeah. Now, when we were in Boston, Cap, there was a TV station, a local one, that had the minor league game of the week, and it was the Nashville Sounds playing the Salt Lake City team, which is the affiliate of the Angels. Saw Nate playing, Craig Gentry, Ryan Cook, on and on and on. The players that, of course, had been in the big leagues and now down there. And then one guy saw it, it said, playing first base, C.J. Cron. And I said, what? No. And then next thing you know, Cron's back here, but he had gone to Salt Lake City since the last time the A's saw them.
But 2-1 the count.
It's kind of fun to flip back and forth between the Warriors and the Nashville Sounds. Had the clicker, you know, the previous boom, 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 commercial break back and forth. So
if you can't handle the clicker, then you just give it to somebody else.
But that Nashville stadium is beautiful.
Yeah, it's supposed to be
very nice stadium.
One of the nicest.
And I enjoyed the. Can't remember who was doing it, the game, but they had two of the Gatlin brothers that were on. Of course, Nashville, Tennessee, the country music world and all that, but so that would seem like a fun time. Berzino, songwriter, guitar player, having a good year for the Sounds.
3-1, and it's inside, and it's a leadoff walk to Butler here in the 7th. So that's 3 walks for Wilson and 93 pitches, and we'll probably start getting some action out in that Angels bullpen.
I was talking to Houston Street, of course, formerly with the Athletics, and that is not him, but Houston said he's been throwing a lot of pitches lately, but he is available for tonight's game. Probably not for tomorrow. Not tomorrow, of course, if he gets into tonight's game. Almost gave it up last night, but ended up getting another save.
Tap toward Freeze. Freeze waits for a good hop and gets Butler at second. So Fegley goes after the first pitch and hits into the fielder's choice. So one away, and here's Laurie. That's Bedrosian and Ramos. The Orioles beat the Yankees today 9-4. Speaking of another hot team, the Orioles have won 6 in a row and 8 out of their last 9. So a couple of hot teams in that AL East. Interesting in that game, though, Alex Rodriguez picked up a couple of RBIs. He has now gone over 2,000 RBIs in his career. Only Hank Aaron has more. So that's a significant milestone for Alex Rodriguez. Fastball a little bit low. So 1-1 the count. Laurie, a ground out and a walk so far tonight.
I think we'd like to see C.J. Wilson hang a slider to Brett Laurie, speed up his bat, hit another home run.
A fastball there at 89 miles an hour, hits it into the upper deck. Left-hander, or left-handed hitter Stephen Vogt will be next for the A's. Setting up inside, 1-2 pitch, here it is, and it's a slider down and in.
Well, last night, another home run off a lefty. This was Santiago, got a breaking ball inside, and that was the breaking ball for a home run. Fegley will hit a fastball for a home run right behind him, and A's had the lead a couple of times, could not hang on.
2-2 pitch inside, and now it's 3-2.
Remember last time 3-2, Cobb, you throw him a curveball that missed badly outside.
So Fegley is the runner at first. He's not going anywhere, and it's hit hard to Ibar, who cannot handle it, pops up in the air, and everybody's safe. If he fields it, it may be a double play, but he doesn't, and now the A's are in business. And it was a very hard hit ball, but it's going to be an error on Ibar. He kind of slid to his right a little bit.
It was hit hard, but well, that should have been handled at least to get one someplace, but he could not, and gets an error. The A's will take it.
So 32nd error for the Angels, so they've been pretty good defensively. But now the A's will try to take advantage. So Mike Butcher, a quick chat with Wilson, who's sitting right at 100 pitches. Good time for Stephen Vogt to break out of his slump. A couple of strikeouts tonight. Wilson, quick look back, and the pitch to Vogt is a strike on the outside corner. So really only one tough inning pitch count wise for Wilson, and that was the 5th. And he's had a couple of runners on in that inning, but could not score. Fegley and Laurie are the runners. Simeon, a right-handed hitter, is next after Simeon, a left-handed hitter, full. And that may be why there's a lefty and a righty working in the bullpen. That's blocked by the catcher Perez.
Well, the breaking ball moving away from the left-hander, and Perez, knowing that, moved well to his right or to his left.
Well, Wilson has got Vogt a couple times with that slider. Well, we'll see if he tries to get him a third time with that pitch.
Well, even better to see if Vogt stays back and doesn't swing at the bad pitch.
There it is, and that one in for a strike. So now it's 2-2.
I think that was more of a get me over slider for a strike, and unlike the one he struck him out on the previous at bat, throwing it out of the strike zone, kind of threw it at the hitter. You buckled his knees, and you get that kind of reaction.
2-2 delivery. Fastball is high. So now it's interesting, Ray. What would he throw him on 3-2? And this may be his last pitch.
Yeah, and I have a feeling he may be throwing him a hard slider, and this is where Stephen Vogt has to stay back, let the ball come to him, not go after it. And hitters struggling, it's usually what they do.
3-2, here it is, and it's line to first. What a play by Navarro. Throw to second, and that's a double play.
Wow.
Great play by Navarro. He backhanded it, grabbed the line drive, and then alertly fired to Ibar, who snuck in behind, and Fegley had gotten too far off. Tough break for the Athletics, and that's how the top of the seventh ends. It's 1-0. Angels lead. As Kendall Graveman back to work. He's been good tonight. Just the Pujols home run is actually the only run in the game. 8 ground ball outs. That's always a good sign for Graveman. Line drive. What a play by Laurie. Laurie fully stretched.
Well, after Navarro's play, and it was Laurie at first, he was not double off there, but what a play here defensively and leaving the feet. Once again, Brett Laurie playing outstandingly at third base, and he shows it again. Takes a little jab step to the left and pulls it down as he looks it into his glove, hits the ground hard, and makes an outstanding play.
So 1 out on the great play, and here's Navarro. Yeah, that was full extension. Navarro takes inside, and the count even at 1-1.
It looks like C.J. Wilson is finished for the night. I think Joe Smith, the right-hander, he's the 8th inning reliever, and still just a 1-0 game.
So Wilson was good. Graveman's been good. Both bullpens out in left field. Strike three called, and Navarro can't believe it. You may hear something from the Angels dugout after that call.
Navarro made a great play defensively, and Stephen Vogt did have a good at bat. Lined it hard. Fegley, though, he was going to score anyway, and unfortunately, the line drive he knew hit hard by Stephen Vogt, caught by Navarro, and then Stephen couldn't believe it. It was caught probably a double, and at that point, really, you're at second base. You're going to walk home. And he just got too far off second base, Fegley did, and easily doubled up.
And what do Carlos Perez? Well, it's tough, you are thinking about scoring, and you see the line drive, and I know you're supposed to freeze, go back, but you're always going to have a little momentum going away from the bag.
But as the old saying, you're coming down third base, or really any base, you kind of walk off, but as you come to a stop, you stop in the front foot, and that way you can go forward or you can push back. Yeah, and that's the key. And you have to just kind of plan in advance what happens if a line drive is hit, and especially you're down, you want to try to keep the potential tying run in score position. And
Simeon leaps, cannot quite get this one, and it's a 2-out hit for Perez. But you're right, if you're in that case at second base, 1 out, even if he catches it, the line drive, it's only 2 outs. You can't get double.
Exactly.
You just can't.
But not when you're down. I mean, really any time, but especially when you're down and you're taking yourself out of scoring position.
So here's Matt Joyce, the 9th place hitter. 93 pitches for Graveman. So he's been sharp. Joyce tonight, a ground out and a fly ball to center field. Tries to hold up. I think he does hold up, but the pitch is called a strike. Joyce this year against the Athletics is 1 for 27. Here's the pitch by inning breakdown for Graveman. Pretty good. He's not had one of those kill the pitch count innings when it gets up to 25 or 30. Zobrist, the second baseman, playing about 10 steps out into shallow right field. Simeon right behind second base. The Angels we talked about how they're looking for a left fielder who can hit, and I think they were hoping Matt Joyce would be that guy. And so far this year, he has not been, hitting 181 coming into tonight. No swing, and now it's 3-1. Joyce with 4 home runs, 17 RBIs. Quick throw, and Perez gets back. And a strike at the knees. Joyce thought maybe it was ball 4.
Joyce was hoping it was ball 4. When you're struggling, you're under 200. You're
take a walk.
Yeah, you're 3-1. Please, yeah. Now, Vogt is letting Graveman know he's playing behind him at first base, so you don't have an accidental throw over or a tip to throw. So give a little bit more room for Vogt to knock down a ball that might be hit his direction.
So 3-2 runner goes, and the pitch to Joyce, swing and a miss. He struck him out. He went off speed. So Joyce 0 for 3, and we're headed to the 8th, folks. It's the Angels with a 1-0 lead. Anaheim, he was pretty good. They 1-2-3 eighth inning. He got 3 ground ball outs. Took just 9 pitches. Remember, Ike Davis pitched in college, and he was actually a very good college pitcher. And we were impressed.
Yeah.
So he is the last guy for the A's to pitch before Ike Davis was Frank Menachino. Then you can go back a little further. Ray, do you remember those names? Seitzer, Law,
yeah,
Mark
exactly.
Wagner,
Yeah.
Gary Hancock, Wayne Gross, Jeff Newman.
Well, you know a catcher was
Big
going to
Jeff.
get in there, yeah. Also Frankie Menachino in Colorado. Definitely will never forget that one.
So when it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune Up, your oil change, tune up, and repair experts. It is the Sidewinder Joe Smith coming in. 27th appearance. The 8th inning generally belongs to him in this Angels bullpen. So he takes over for C.J. Wilson, who pitched extremely well tonight. Simeon, Fold, and Burns for the A's. Smith deals, sinker for a strike. Simeon a ground out and a double. So his average sitting at 274. Hit hard toward Ibar, who shuffles to his left and throws out Simeon. So C.J. Wilson, 7 shutout innings, just 2 hits. And he ends up with 10 ground ball outs and 106 pitches. So Wilson doing what the Angels had hoped. He's had a couple of opportunities against him, but not a lot. So he'll sit back and watch, and here's Fold.
Well, lefty starts, that means the righties will enjoy that, or righties will, and now there's a righty in, so it means Josh Reddick, I'm sure, will be making an appearance sometime before this game is over. One of the lefties on the bench for the Athletics.
Sam Fold tonight has walked and struck out. If you saw it today, Ray, where a couple of more of baseball's top, and I mean top prospects, are being called up, which I think is kind of exciting. Giovatella scoops, flips, and that's the second out.
Something happened to Fold out of the batter's box as he was a little slow, and usually it means he slipped, and Josh Reddick does have a bat in his hand.
There's the slip right there.
Step on the plate, and you do that, the plate is slippery.
So 2 outs for Burns. But the Twins announced today that Byron Buxton, who's an outfielder, and he is considered to be baseball's top prospect. And they are calling him up. He's going to be in the lineup tomorrow. Looking forward to seeing him. And then just earlier tonight, the Cleveland Indians announced that they are calling up their top prospect. His name is Francisco Lindor. He's a shortstop, and he was also a top 5 prospect in all of baseball. And he will be called up. You think of Carlos Correa from the Astros just called up. I mean, these are guys that have future star written all over. And they're starting to get to the big leagues, and that's exciting.
And Correa got King Felix in the first inning last night.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, sure, very exciting for him.
That one rolled foul, but I mean, as I said, the names that were thrown out, you may not have heard a lot about them, but they're top 5 prospects in all of baseball. Saw Joey Gallo, the top prospect from the Rangers. He is in the big leagues. Hit another home run tonight. Oh, 2 pitch, slice foul. So it's almost like a new wave of terrific prospects is starting to come into baseball. 0-2 to Burns, who is 1 for 3, single, hit into a double play, and struck out. And he fouls that one back. Got to pay attention in this press box where we're at. It's probably, at least as far as our broadcast booth, probably the lowest of all broadcast booths we work in. We are clearly right in line with
JR, you're on camera. Pay attention.
Yeah, that was John Reynolds, our stage manager, who we talk about a lot.
JR, you're on TV. Pay attention.
His best prop is the binoculars. And Burns waved at a pitch down and away. Side retired. So good inning for Joe Smith. Bottom of the 8th coming up. 1-0 Angels. This game summary brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. 0-2-0 for the Athletics, 1-8-1 for the Angels. So just one more shot for the A's. Kendall Graveman, 7 innings so far, and he's back out there. C.J. Wilson, 7 shutout innings, and the only run in the game, a first inning home run by Albert Pujols. So Graveman will face the top of this order. And he rolls that one slowly towards Simeon, who scoops, throws on the run in time to get the speedy Ibar. So the A's have been able to keep Ibar off the bases. He's hitless in this series.
Well, that's pitch number 100 and 101 for Graveman in his last start last Sunday. And even though it's a tough part of the lineup and Bob Melvin sticking with him, and why not? I mean, he's pitching great. You give up, actually he's pitched down to the stretch except for one inning. That was the 5th when he went 1-2-3. Otherwise, he's had at least a base runner.
But you know, Ray, he's had base runners to deal with, but I don't know that he's really had one of those super high stress innings where it just wears you down. And he looks as good as he did early in the game.
Well, the leadoff singles in the 5th inning to make it the 4th inning. And that was Calhoun and Freese, and Gio Patella did not bunt. He struck out and then actually retired 3 in a row after the 2 leadoff hits. So he's pitched a great game, and can't fault anybody for bringing him back out, sending him back out for this 8th inning.
He's got a caught stealing, which has certainly helped. You got to strike him out, throw him on double play. So there's the closer, Houston Street. Way high, and it's 1-2 to Trout, who is singled, hit a fly ball to center, and grounded out. So 1 for 3. High again, and evens the count at 2-2 with Pujols waiting in the on-deck circle. Laurie stays down on it. And fires, and did Vogt keep his foot on the bag? He did. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th. Make sure you join us tomorrow. The A's will wrap up this 3-game set here in Anaheim. Sonny Gray and Matt Shoemaker is your pitching matchup. Sonny Gray still sporting the best ERA in the American League at 1.74, and Matt Shoemaker not pitching quite as well as he did last year. But our coverage begins at noon with A's pregame live, and then make sure you get complete A's coverage every night on Sportsnet Central and CSNCalifornia.com. So that's tomorrow, Sunday afternoon here in Anaheim. And then we will get on the buses, and generally we would be heading to the airport, but that will not be the case. We're going to stay on the bus and drive to San Diego.
There's an airport near the San Diego hotel.
There's an airport in downtown San Diego. So we get to see Petco Park. Last time we were there, Ray, was 2009. And I remember being there, but I don't remember anything about the series. So it must have been uneven. But I remember the ballpark. It's very nice. So we're looking forward to that. A night game on Monday against the Padres, and then a day game on Tuesday. And then the Padres come to the Coliseum Wednesday and Thursday.
I do remember that Jerry Coleman was there, and he has since passed away. A very, very good person, Jerry Coleman.
So interesting part of the schedule, Ray.
Yeah.
If you start tonight, it goes night game, day game, night game, day game, night game, day game, night game, day game. That's taking it all the way through next week when we go home and play the Angels on the weekend. So I don't know that the players generally like that.
No. They usually like night.
It's a whole bunch of night games. Pujols swings at a pitch in the dirt. Fegley will flip it to first. Side retired. So one more shot for the A's as we head to the 9th. The A's trailing 1-0.
Baseball on Comcast Sportsnet California is brought to you by Toyota, the full-time automaker with the longest-lasting vehicles in America. Toyota, let's go places. And by Xfinity, home of the most live sports.
So it's the 9th inning, and the A's are trailing 1-0. And the Angels bring their closer in. That's Houston Street. And Ray, something to keep an eye on with Street. This is his 3rd consecutive game he's pitched. And last night, he threw 26 pitches.
Yeah, that's why he had said that tomorrow he's definitely not available. And, of course, he mentioned Sonny Gray pitching. But he definitely is available tonight. And like you said, 3 in a row. He did sign the contract extension when we were last here. some talk, and he was negotiating his own, but he basically came to an agreement, so he's going to be an Angel for at least maybe 3 more years.
Yeah, this year 2 more. He got a 2-year, $18 million extension. He would have been a free agent after this season. So Kendall Graveman, terrific outing again, and it's great to see.
See that
first pitch to Canna is a strike.
No walks and 7 strikeouts for Kendall Graveman. Ground ball pitcher. So best case scenario right now, the A's get a runner on base, and Josh Reddick will pinch hit for Josh Phegley.
Canna bounces that one foul back to the screen. So Street jumps ahead in the count 0-2.
And that's nothing against Phegley. It's simply that not going to do it for Zobrist or Butler. And you're going to use the bullet that you have, and that would be Josh Reddick, but it would be with somebody on base.
Well, you feel like you got to do everything you can to get Reddick in at bat in this inning. 0-2 pitch, hard slider, and Canna on 3 pitches strikes out. So the A's have struck out 10 times tonight.
Well, the slider just kept moving away from him, and out of the strike zone. Unfortunately, Mark Canna been at it, and you look at the A's tonight, just 2 hits throughout the night. Leadoff single, that's 1. And then a single in actually a double in the 5th inning by Simeon.
So Zobrist lays off the first pitch. It drops low, 1-0. Zobrist tonight has grounded out a couple times and hit a fly ball to right field. Butler is the on-deck hitter. And a close pitch outside. So now Zobrist in the driver's seat at 2-0. Street kicks, and the pitch is rolled over foul. Head toward Ty Waller, who picks it up.
Well, if there's ever a time to try to think opposite field, that pitch was it. Even though it's 2-0, and Ben Zobrist may be thinking about more than just a base hit, but right now base runners, and Houston Street's probably going to stay away as much as he can from the hitters.
So here comes the 2-1 to Zobrist. Hit hard, but right to first. Navarro has it, takes it himself. And now the A's are down to their final out. So Butler coming to the plate, and as Ray figured, Reddick comes out into the on-deck circle. So Butler's got to do everything he can to get aboard.
That's the key. He's got to get him on somehow, get Reddick up there.
So Butler steps in. He is 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts and a walk. He would take a walk at this point.
There are times that in a game like this, still a 1-run game, and the outfield playing shallow. It's not as if they're playing no doubles, and maybe they figure for Billy Butler, who does not run especially fast anyway, that they wouldn't have to worry about that. So maybe BB can go over their heads, maybe all the way over the fence. You have to be patient. Houston Street is not overpowering with any of his pitches.
That one just a bit outside, and now it's 2-0. So Butler, like Zobrist, gets himself in a hitter's count. And that one is just a bit high. So off speed pitch on 2-0. And Butler probably be taking a strike here. Benton's in there for a strike with a tail on that pitch, which Street does with that 3/4 delivery. crowd of over 43,000 starting to make some noise. And that one is inside. He walked in.
And now you can put a pinch runner in as well for Billy Butler and bring Josh Reddick to plate, who made the out last night. They wanted it down and away as a backup slider that stayed. Sogard's going to run for Billy Butler, get a bit of added speed at first. So Josh Reddick, the bullet that Bob Melvin had waiting.
So here is Reddick.
As I mentioned last night, first and second, Reddick was up, but Houston Street went to 3-2. Reddick was sitting changeup, got the changeup, and unfortunately popped it up. And for the third out of the game.
10 home runs, 38 RBIs for Reddick. And the first pitch is low.
Well, each of the last 2 years, a guy named John Jaso has pinched hit and pinch hit home runs. Jepson one, Frieri the other. Still looking for the first hit. How about a big one for Josh Reddick?
So again, the outfield very, very deep. Obvious reasons for that now with the tying run at first. Infield shift is on. Quick throw. Sogard with a head first dive back.
Santiago's done a lot of talking. So C.J. Wilson doesn't want to respond.
High pop-up foul down the left field line.
Last night, exciting time for the A's with Josh Reddick at the plate. And watch the catcher Perez set up outside and look at the location of the pitch. Down and in, and Reddick unloaded. That was off Salas, and that gave the A's a lead that was short-lived, unfortunately. 2 out, 2-run home run. 2 outs tonight. A's down by a run, as they were last night, with the runner on base. Could he do it again?
Sogard, good lead at first, and here's the 1-1 pitch, and it's popped up.
Same thing he did last night.
Left center, Ibar's going way out, and it's going to be the shortstop Ibar who makes the catch out in left center field, and that's the ball game. So the A's are shut out for the 6th time this year, as C.J. Wilson, Joe Smith, and Houston Street finish off that shutout. So the first 2 games of the series have gone to the Angels, and they win it tonight by a final score of 1-0. You've been watching Oakland A's baseball on Comcast Sportsnet California. Don't go away. A's postgame live with Brody Brazil and Pip Roberts starts right now.